Whether you're a fan of isekai, just pure fantasy, or, especially this month, slice-of-life romantic comedy titles, February of 2021 has lots in store for light novel fans. There are 10 light novels making their debut this month. On top of that, there are a number of other volume number ones that are being released in print for the very first time. I'm going to just be covering the ones that are making their debut. If you want to check out all the light novels releasing in the month of February, make sure you hit that link in the description down below to EnglishLightNovels.com, and that'll take you over and you can take a look at all the light novels coming out in February and even beyond. So as I said at the opening there, Slice of Life making a big splash this month, pretty much entirely thanks to J-Novel Club, who's decided to drop 3 rom-com slice of life titles in this month alone. I honestly think that is the single largest number of romantic comedies that we have had released in a single month, probably since about 2014 when this current wave of light novel releases began. I guess I'd have to go through several years to make sure, but really I can't think of a single time that I've talked about this many romantic comedy light novels in a single month. So again, if you want to check out any of these light novels that I'm talking about in the video, if you want to pick them up, pre-order them, I'll have links in the description down below to those ones as well. And like I said, you can also pop over to EnglishLightNovels.com, where I have all the light novels releasing during the month of February on site there. So with all of that said, let's get started, because on the very first day of February, February 1st, we have the first of J-Novel Club's romantic comedy slice of life titles. This one is called She's the Cutest, but We're Just Friends. There's currently 2 volumes of this one out in Japan. Kai Nakamura has the average range of otaku hobbies for a high school boy, but the buddy he shares them with is far from ordinary. Kai's best friend in the whole world is Jun Miyakawa, his classmate known as a super hottie. Though Kai and Jun just met when they enrolled in high school, they hit it off with passion for all the same hobbies. When they're together, the pair never have enough hours in the day. Kai and Jun can't get enough of each other's company as they chat about video games and manga or sing anime songs at karaoke. Love is fleeting, but friendship is forever in this Just Friends rom-com filled with flirty fun. Now, this one is actually by the same author as World Break, Aria of Curse for a Holy Swordsman, which, if you recall, had an anime back in winter of 2015. And honestly, there are a number of series. There's like 8 different light novel series that this author has written. And this is about the first romantic comedy slice of life title that they've done. And I kind of wonder if this is because authors are just transitioning to this to try something different, if they've written a lot of fantasy type stuff, or if it's kind of in response to what we've seen in Kono Light Novel ga Sugoi over the last couple of years, where it seems that, at least for the Bunko list, more and more titles are being on there that are just slice of life romantic comedy and leaving the whole fantasy isekai thing behind. Not too sure, of course, that's just pure speculation on my part, but this is not the only author with a rom-com on this list who has written mostly just fantasy titles. Now on February 2nd we get the only series debut from Yen On. I'm not going to spend a long time on this one because I actually covered it in January's release video, and that is Solo Leveling. Yes, the uber popular Korean series about a Earth that has had suddenly dungeons appear, and how a select group of humans have been assigned ranks and abilities, and how the lowest ranked of all hunters finds himself suddenly as the only person who can level up and change his abilities. Solo Leveling has inspired manhwa, has inspired webtoons, like several seasons worth of webtoons. And funny enough, just this month, it has been announced that it is getting a light novel adaptation in Japan. So it's getting a Japanese release, and they are releasing it, of course, as a light novel with artwork to boot. Now, what I wanted to talk about that I found out a little bit more of since my January video is that we are getting the Korean release, which, if we're talking translation, I think it's much better to go from the source material to one language instead of them licensing this from Japan, which would have been Korean to Japanese, Japanese to English. That would inevitably, I think, get kind of messy. The other thing is that these ones, the cover as well as the lack of interior artwork is because recently there was a double box set where they condensed Solo Leveling. I think, if I recall, it was about 13 volumes initially. They condensed it into 8 volumes, and so it was 2 box sets of 4 books each. This looks to be the release that we are getting from Yen on. So if you're looking to sort of find out like where their cover is or why you're seeing other cover artwork, there seems to be kind of a mishmash of things with this whole series. There's actually a company that is releasing it officially in English, but only digitally. So Yen isn't, as far as I know, releasing ebooks because that company is, but they have licensed the print release rights and they're releasing the Korean version. Like I said, it's kind of a mess, but I'm just really curious to check this one out, even if only for the sake that, man, it has just generated so much buzz and has so many people interested in grabbing a piece of the pie on this one. Like, how can you not want to at least check out the first book? Also on February 2nd, we get a isekai title from J Novel Club, and that is The Great Cleric, White Collar Survival in Another World. This one has 8 volumes in Japan. One moment, a certain salaryman is on cloud 9, that promotion finally within his grasp, and the next, he's keeled over in pain. And that was all she wrote. Luckily for him, fate had a bit more to say. A world of magic, monsters, and other such life-shortening entities await his newly reincarnated self for a second shot at life. With nothing but his past life experiences and sharp business skills to guide him in the foreign lands of Galdardia, he takes up the name Luciel and vows that his next demise will be from naught but old age. And what better way to avoid another gruesome death than by taking up a nice, cushy job as a healer. But getting by in another world doesn't come easy or cheap. It'll take a lot of blood, sweat, and tears to hone the skills he needs to make his way. But make it he will, or die again trying. So, I'm really not familiar with this series. Obviously, 8 volumes. As far as I can tell, this is the first and only series that's been officially published by this author. It sounds like it's kind of trying to achieve the same thing we're seeing in a number of isekai light novels, which is, I'm going for the slow life, and then the slow life just kind of never really happens because a whole bunch of other crap gets in the way. That's my guess. I don't really know, but I don't know. I mean, this one, I really like the cover artwork on this one. If anything, that would probably somewhat entice me to check it out. But yeah, this one sounds a little bit more by the numbers. But, if you're more familiar with this one, if there's some cool aspects about this, I would love to hear about it in the comments down below. On February 7th, we get another rom-com from J Novel Club. This time it is Are You Okay with a Slightly Older Girlfriend? This one currently has 6 volumes in Japan. First-year high school student Momota Karu just saved a beautiful high school girl, Orihara Hime, from a train molester. Molester? Molester. Do anybody in the world call them molesters? I don't think so. Molester. Haha. One thing leads to another, and they end up going on a date. They have a lot in common. They both love video games. They both jam to their favorite songs on mixtapes. They were even both born in the year of the snake. Except Orihara's first game console used cartridges, and her old mixtapes are all on minidisc. And oh, her birthday is actually 12 years before Momota's. When her secret comes out, she thinks it must all be over. But will Momota really let something like a little age gap get in the way of his love for Orihara? Find out if love really can transcend generations in this sugar-sweet romantic comedy. Obviously, the author has a thing for older women because the author also has a light novel which features a 30-year-old mom being confessed to by her daughter's only couple years older tutor. So this seems to be kind of a recurring theme in some of their work. However, English audiences might be most familiar with the fact that they wrote When Supernatural Battles Become Commonplace, which had an anime in fall of 2014. So, again, you don't... I don't know, man. 12 year... Is that slightly older? I mean, maybe when he's 30 and she's 42, but when she's 27 and he's 19? Not even? 15? 16? Okay, well, anyway, we'll see how this one turns out. On February 10th, we've got the third and final romantic comedy slice-of-life title coming from J-Novel Club, and this one is My Friend's Little Sister Has It In For Me. This one has 6 volumes in Japan and honestly seems to be pretty popular. If a girl teases you, that means she likes you. Unfortunately, Akiteru knows from experience that isn't the case, because every girl he interacts with shows him nothing but scorn, and he's not scored a single date from it. Luckily, he's more concerned with securing a spot for him and his game development buddies at his uncle's business. But when his uncle throws him a condition that involves playing the part of his daughter's boyfriend, Akiteru has no choice but to take it. What will his best friend's sister, Iroha, who bullies him relentlessly, think of the news? Now, this is another author who has numerous series listed on Anime Planet, and none have been licensed for English yet or adapted into anime. But oddly again, almost every single one of these titles is a fantasy title, and now this is an author turning to slice of life, and seemingly, from my knowledge, having far more success with it, because I had not really heard of this author up until the point of this series, and I have seen this series mentioned in a heck of a lot of places. So, kind of interesting. It also, if the artwork looks familiar, this one is by the artist who did the first 2 volumes of There's No Way a Side Character Like Me Could Be Popular, right? Which I really liked the artwork from that one, so the art I think is going to be a lot of fun on this, but yeah, slightly, I think it gives it slightly the same feel, but it'll be interesting to see how this one goes. Like I said, I know I have seen a lot of hype for this series. Certainly the Japanese publisher seems to be really pushing it. They've done a number of PVs. I think they actually have a CD special edition coming out. There's all sorts of push for this series, and it seems to be doing well. So maybe it's a good one to check out. We'll see in February. On February 12th, this one coming from Cross Infinite World, and it's a one-shot, so single volume only, and that is, As the Villainess, I Reject These Happy Bad Endings. Iris has awoken as the villainess in the world of her favorite otome game, but not just any otome game, one with nothing but bittersweet, happy bad endings. If the heroine hooks up with one of her problematic love interests, the rest of the world is doomed. But if she fails, it's the villainess who will pay with her life. Fortunately, Iris has time on her side. All she has to do is set things up so that the heroine won't go down those routes, be it curing a fatal disease or reparenting her possessive twin brother. she'll do whatever it takes to reject these happy bad endings. Now, this is kind of an interesting release from Cross Infinite World. Cross Infinite World has often done deals directly with authors, licensing things directly from the Naru website, creating their own artwork and everything else. And those works are not often released in Japan. Now, there are obviously exceptions. This one, however, is kind of interesting because it is getting released in Japan, but it's under a slightly different title. If you look at the kanji that Cross Infinite World has for this title compared to the kanji that's being released in the Japanese one, it's slightly different. It's different artwork, and supposedly, or well, not supposedly, Cross Infinite World has said this, there is bonus material in the English release that will not appear in the Japanese release. So it is kind of an interesting twist that we have a title that is being released officially in Japan, but it sounds like we're actually getting the benefit of its being licensed here in English above and beyond what the Japanese audience is getting. So I'm not too sure how that happened, but it's pretty cool, honestly. On February 14th, and this one coming from J Novel Club, it is The Apothecary Diaries. There are 10 volumes currently in Japan. In the east is land ruled by an emperor, whose consorts and serving women live in a sprawling complex known as the Hougong, the Rear Palace. Mao Mao, an unassuming girl raised in an unassuming town by her apothecary father, never imagined the Rear Palace would have anything to do with her, until she was kidnapped and sold into service there. Though she looks ordinary, Mao Mao has a quick wit, a sharp mind, and an extensive knowledge of medicine. That's her secret, until she encounters a resident of the palace at least as perceptive as she is, the head eunuch, Jinchi. He sees through Mao Mao's facade and makes her a lady-in-waiting to none other than the emperor's favorite consort, so she can taste the lady's food for poison. At her lady's side, Mao Mao starts to learn about everything that goes on in the Rear Palace, not all of it seemly. Can she ever lead a quiet life, or will her powers of deduction and insatiable curiosity bring her ever more adventures and ever more dangers? So, this one I am really looking forward to. It sounds like a period piece set essentially in China, although I will call it an otherworld China because I don't think it is strictly set in Chinese history. It sounds like it is combining mystery with the royal palace type intrigues and political maneuverings. It sounds very cool. I have heard good things about this first volume from people who read the pre-pub that was released to J Novel Club members. The series has gotten quite a number of accolades and sold very well in Japan. So I'm really looking forward to this. And interestingly enough, the author of this work, their first official English release was as one of the short stories in The Hitchhiker's Guide to the Isekai, which was also released from J Novel Club as a one-shot. So kind of an interesting little tie-in with the whole J Novel Club thing. And but yeah, this one I have said a number of times that I want more mystery, I want more intrigue type light novels, and I think this one sounds quite cool, and I like that sort of period piece aspect of it as well. So definitely one that I'm going to be checking out. I love the cover too. I kind of, J Novel Club, how about a print version of this? Everybody go buy a copy of the digital so we can get it in print. How about that? Even an omnibus. I would take a print omnibus version too. On February 16th, we get a title from Seven Seas. Now, this is a one-shot. It's an adaptation of a film, and that film was Ride Your Wave, the novel version of the acclaimed anime film about surfing, summer love, grief, and a hint of magic. Carefree Hinako moves to a small seaside town to surf. When her new apartment catches fire, she's rescued by Minato, a gentle firefighter with a heart of gold. The two soon become surfing together, and before they know it, they're falling in love. But their young romance comes to an abrupt halt when tragedy strikes. Now Hinako is determined to rescue Minato, just like he once saved her. A moving tale of love and yearning based on the award-winning anime. So the film was an original work by Science Saru and directed by Masaki Yuasa, who also worked on projects like The Night is Short, Walk On Girl, and the Devilman Crybaby series. Now, the scriptwriter who wrote the script for this original work was Reiko Yoshida, who is not only a manga author, but she's also a really prolific screenwriter, having done such works as like The Cat Returns, A Silent Voice, and did all the script work for the Violet Evergarden anime. So, really good pedigree on this one, especially in terms of the script side of things. So, kind of an interesting romance, slice of life with a touch of magic mixed in. On February 17th, this one coming from J-Novel Club, The Magician Who Rose from Failure. There's currently 3 volumes in Japan. The Wraithefts are an old, minor noble house defined by magical talent and martial service. When 6-year-old Arcus Wraitheft, firstborn son to the family, proves disappointingly inept at magic, he is stripped of his inheritance and written off by his parents. His adoptive sister, Lecia, still adores him, but as the new heir, she is forbidden to interact with anyone who might drag her down. But when one inheritance is lost, fate arranges another. Arcus remembers another life, in a world where science prevails and magic belongs to the realm of fiction. Suddenly endowed with the life experience of a grown man and pressed to find a purpose as his family turns against him, Arcus resolves to find a way to break the laws of magic and wraith theft tradition over his knee. Now this is by the same author as The Magic in This Other World is Too Far Behind, so we joked about it saying kind of like The Magic in This Other World is Too Far Behind seems to be on hiatus. Is it this work's fault? But I don't know. I think there's supposedly some other things going on with that. I'm not too sure. However, if you read that series, this might be one to check out. Again, fantasy, isekai. I'm not sure how much of this is just him trying to find his way in the world, or how much of it is like revenge. Like that last little bit makes it sound like it's revenge, but I kind of think it's just like he wants to become such a success that he wants to make them look like fools for getting rid of him. I don't think it's going to go like hardcore violent revenge or destroy the family. But I don't really know. If you have any ideas about this one, feel free to leave comments down below. For our final release in the month of February, this one coming to us on February 19th and from Tentai Books. So it's been a while since we've had a brand new series from them. And this one is World Teacher. There's currently 14 volumes in Japan. Sirius is one of the best special agents that his generation has ever seen, but he gets killed in action in an effort to save his colleagues. Fortunately for him, he gets reincarnated after his death, and now he's a young boy in a completely different world. One of Sirius's unfulfilled tasks in his previous life was to pass on his knowledge and experience to a student, someone who could continue his legacy. Still wanting to fulfill this dream of his, he sets out to meet those who he will deem as pupils in this new world he's been reincarnated into. And thus the story of Sirius, the best special agent that has ever lived, and his quest to become someone else's mentor and role model begins. If you have nothing to lose, follow me. I will teach you how to live in this world. So So kind of interesting, this one is the first like really long running series that Tentai Books has picked up. Now, the release date I am basing on a calendar on their website, which they did promote, so it's not like it's just some random thing I found or anything. They did promote this calendar and the dates that it has on it. However, as I'm recording this video, there are no pre-order links available for World Teacher yet, not even on Tentai's own website. In fact, they have not yet even premiered the English like cover, the English logo cover for the series. So I kind of feel like they're leaving this to the last second, like it's just gonna kind of drop on the 19th. I don't really know. So I'm just kind of going on faith that this one will be released. Now, it is only coming out in ebook in February. Again, according to that same calendar, there should be print copies that you'll be able to order from Tentai's website. And if it's like some of their other physical prints, at least Right Stuff should have it. I know they were trying to get into Book Depository as well, but everything's been kind of weird and thrown off with COVID and all the rest of that jazz. So in any case, if this is one that is up your alley, keep an eye out for it. As I said, there currently are no pre-order links, but as soon as there are some, I will update the description down below, and of course it will be updated on EnglishLightNovels.com. In this video, I want to say a special thanks to Kyle Block, Mirage, Jean-Luc Chartier, Ine Erlkana, and New Valaric for their support on Patreon, as well as the support of all of my patrons who help me to keep this channel running, as well as supporting all of my other light novel projects such as the Light Novel Podcast and of course EnglishLightNovels.com. So those are all the light novel series making their debut in the month of February 2021. Which ones are you most looking forward to? Are you hyped that we're starting to get some serious influx of romantic slice of life set in our world comedy type light novels? Let me know down below. In the meantime, thank you so much for checking out this video, and I look forward to seeing you in the next one. Till then, bye bye for now.